Welcome to Tall Tales, Short Stories, and Dusty Film Cans. Enjoy a story created to inspire and ignite. Long before history flattened passion into paragraphs and turned gods into marble, there was a story too dangerous to survive untouched. This is not a tale of lovers. It's a tale of warpaint and wine, of power shared like a secret and burned like a torch. Inspired by the legendary tragedy of Antony and Cleopatra, the Falcon and the Lotus reimagines their love not as a fall, but as a rise so volcanic the world still feels the heat. Enter a world of thunderous romance, knife-edge dialogue, and empire-shattering desire. Cassian Valor, Satia Neferu. He, the fire of a dawning republic. She, the serpent queen of the sand. Together, they didn't find love. They weaponized it. And when the ashes settled, even the stars remembered their names. Welcome to the legend behind the legend. The Falcon and the Lotus, a tall tale by 11 goddess. Chapter 2. Feast of Daggers and Flirting. We return to enter the banquet hall of Thebes, a marvel of engineered seduction. Every column wrapped in flowering vines, every shadow lit by 1,000 flickering oil lamps. Musicians played something soft and haunting, like a prayer no one was brave enough to say aloud. And at the far end of the hall, Satia Neferu reclined on a throne of lapis and lions' heads, one foot tucked beneath her, the other swinging idly in time to the music. Cassian Valor entered the hall without ceremony. The moment he did, the entire hall seemed to pull slightly toward him, as if gravity had grown bored of acting impartial. "General," Satia purred, lifting her cup without rising. "You survived the storm. How brave of you." "I've survived worse. Bureaucrats, for example." He took the seat to her left, as if it had been waiting for him since the palace was built. They served wine so rich it stained the tongue purple. Food arrived in golden dishes, each course more elaborate than the last. Boar roasted in cinnamon and honey. Peacocks adorned with rubies and pomegranate. A salad made entirely of edible flowers. "This all seems extravagant," Cassian said, watching a dancer twirl with daggers tied to her wrists. "Excess is a language," Satia replied. "The wise learn to speak it. The foolish try to silence it." He grinned. "What am I then?" She leaned closer until her breath tickled his cheek. "A wild animal I've decided to feed until it learns to kneel." A hush fell over the hall. One of the dancers, beautiful, silver-veiled, spun toward Cassian with a flourish and hurled a dagger at the floor before him. Cassian caught it midair. The room gasped. He placed it on the table like an appetizer. "Someone should remind your performers not to test my reflexes after dinner." Satia raised her glass. It wasn't a test. It was a message. The blade was mine. Their eyes locked. Electricity passed between them, dangerous, mutual, intoxicating. Cassian leaned back, wine glass untouched. "What did the message say?" Satia smiled slowly. "It said, 'Careful, General. You're starting to enjoy yourself.'" And he was. That night, he dreamed of her not as a queen, but as a flame, untouchable, mesmerizing, and destined to consume. And when he woke, he found a second dagger beside his bed, engraved on the hilt, "Your move." Chapter 3. The Garden Pact. The sun had not yet risen, but Thebes was already golden. The palace garden shimmered under early mist, dew clinging to every leaf like a secret. Cassian waited beneath a flowering arch, one hand resting on the hilt of a blade he hadn't needed in weeks. The other hand was clenched, holding nothing, except maybe hope, and that was dangerous. Satia appeared in silence, as she always did, wrapped in green silk and moonlight. "You pace like a soldier," she said, stepping barefoot across the marble path, "even when you're standing still. And you appear like a vision," he said, "even when I know you're real." She arched an eyebrow, amused. "Careful. I might mistake that for poetry." He reached for her hand, but she stepped past him, trailing fingers along the edge of a mosaic fountain. "The Senate's spies are closing in. They're asking about you. About me. Let them ask. They won't like the answers," Cassian stated. She turned. "No, but they'll believe them." Cassian took a deep breath. "So, what do we do?" Satia faced him fully now. "We stop waiting. We stop pretending this is a game." She pulled a scroll from her robes and unrolled it between them. A map of the known world, with markers scattered across the seas and mountains like jeweled wounds. "We strike first. We don't beg for seats at the table. We build our own empire." His heart thudded like a war drum. "You're proposing war." "I'm proposing us." He reached for her again, this time not stopping until her hand was in his. "Marry me," he said. The words fell from his mouth like they'd been waiting for centuries. Satia blinked. "Now? Here? In the garden where I once killed a man with rose thorns?" "Exactly here." She laughed, delighted and unhinged. "You are a ridiculous man. And you're a dangerous woman. It's perfect." She looked at him for a long, breathless moment and then said, "Fine. But only if we crown ourselves on the battlefield." "Done!" Cassian retorted quickly and without a moment's hesitation. And somewhere, far away, a god screamed into the void, because two mortals had just declared war. On fate. Stay tuned for more of the Falcon and the Lotus. Thank you for joining us.